Welcome to another edition of Storyville Sessions. Today, I wanted to break down a little bit of the audio gear that you see here that we use when we're out and about, recording events, interviews, all the different things that we capture. Audio is a key component of that. So, wanted to break down a little bit of the gear that we use and a secret tool, one magical secret tool that we use in post-production. First things first, it's actually really the most obvious one. It's the lavalier, this little guy right here, where if I put my head down, you can really hear me talk. But it captures my voice, right? It captures a crisp, clear audio because it's attached to me. This guy is running through a hardwire, also known as an XLR cable, to this guy right here. This is our F6 Zoom recorder. These are the XLR cables. One's running from the lav, the other is running from the boom mic to this recorder. This guy is pretty cool because it records in 32-bit float. And what that means is that I can yell really loud or I can talk really quiet. And no matter what, those levels are always going to be even. It's never going to break or be too hot or too overmodulated where it sounds like this, or too quiet. Again, you get a lot of dead air. You do have knobs on here to monitor your audio, and that's really if you have to do a mixed feed out, which is where this audio is moving out to a board or to a camera. That's really what those audio levels are for that. You see this little guy. This is a little headphone coming out, going to Sebastian's head over there. So that's how you can monitor your audio. Anyways, this is our beast that kind of guarantees that we have clean audio. We use this for sit-down interviews when we have a lot of guests, a lot of interviewees. We need to record to an audio board to get a clean feed from an event. This little guy that it sits in actually goes on somebody's waist, so you can walk around with it. And so that this next guy, this boom mic, running around with a little boom mic, can record straight into it. So F6, let's move you out of the way. We're bringing in our little fuzzy friend here, the boom mic. And so this little fuzzy magical creature laying on it is known as a dead cat or a windsock. Basically what that does, I'm going to move a little fuzzy wuzzy guy out of the way. What that does is it cancels out any harsh wind that may be blowing out in the air. This little lavalier has one on it too. You can probably barely see it, but there is one on there. So in this room right now, I got the air conditioner going. I have this fan going because it's 112 degrees in Las Vegas right now. And it's cutting all that wind out and it's making for that crisp, clean, clear audio. There's also another boom mic, another little fuzzy wuzzy on top of the camera here. It makes for backup audio so that we can capture all of those natural sounds that are out and about in the world, wherever we're recording, events, sit-down interviews, whatever. It just gives us another backup source of audio. Let's keep moving now. This little guy, this is a stick mic, right? So you've probably seen this. If you ever watch the news, news reporters use this like, hey, reporting live, blah, blah, blah. That is a stick mic. We do a lifestyle entertainment show during the football season for the team here. And our on-air talent uses this to interview a guest. This little guy that is on the bottom here, this is the Tascam DR10X. And so what this is a standalone recorder, kind of like that F6, except that all that's plugged into it is the actual stick mic, using an XLR connection straight to the recorder. It takes a little tiny micro SD card that goes in the slot right there. There's a little headphone thing so you can preview the audio before you start rolling on it, but there's no wireless signal that comes out of it. So what's a little bit scary is once you hit record, you can't monitor the audio. So you kind of got to trust that this thing is just going to keep rolling. But it works really well, right? So you trigger the record here and it stays on, and then you just record. You get clean audio. Unlike the F6, this is not 32-bit float, but what it does do, it records both a high and a low level feed of the audio, almost guaranteeing that you'll have clean audio. Again, we use it all football season in the stadium, lots of background noise, lots of fans cheering, and we never really had any issues with audio using this guy. On that shoot, we always run with a boom mic for a backup, again, just to give you that redundant clean feed. Our next little toy that I'll show you, we also have another little recorder, a Zoom F2 BT field recorder. So this is another lavalier, right? The same maker as the F6, but the F2 also records in 32-bit float, which means, again, you're never gonna have overmodulated audio. You never have audio that's too soft. It's gonna give you a clean feed. The BT stands for Bluetooth. So what's cool is you can pair this with your phone and use an app to monitor your audio. You can't hear it, but you can at least monitor the levels, trigger the record, and all that remotely. This guy, you can also record on the actual unit. If it did have an SD card, once you hit record, you flip it over to hold, and no matter what I do, this thing will not stop the recording. So it kind of takes away that burden of like, oh man, did the recording go or whatnot. Also, it takes a 32 gig micro SD card, which gives you 50 hours of recording, which is awesome. So again, lavalier plugs into this guy. This has a little out, so what you can do is plug in some headphones on this guy so you can listen to the audio before you hit record, make sure it sounds good, and then off you go with this thing rolling all day. Another thing that we've done is we've looped out audio from this to a wireless transmitter, so we can monitor it, but that becomes a little bulky. Sometimes we get like a little static because the connection's not all the way clean there. This little guy is a real workhorse for us. We have two of these. We use them, again, just to get that clean audio for you when we're at and about. Last one I wanted to show you. These are kind of our OGs of the batch. These are the EK100G4s. I use these whenever I was a news photographer, but these have been my go-to wirelesses since I started in the industry. They're pretty straightforward, right? They take AA batteries. There's an on-off button in there. Once they're on, transmitter transmits to the receiver. This guy plugs into your camera, and off you go. It is not 32-bit float because there is no internal recorder, so it just wirelessly transmits it to your camera. So you do have to monitor your audio on this guy. There's a gain output out of this guy, little level meter on this guy, so that you can always make sure that your audio isn't overmodulated. It does transmit wirelessly, which means it operates on different frequencies. So on occasion, you put this on a clean frequency, but you'll get some interference every now and again, depending on where you are. If we're shooting, let's say inside a football stadium, there's tons of wireless interference. Man, we're gonna have hiccups with this audio. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, let's say you're shooting in the countryside, you're gonna have clean audio for a really long distance. I honestly don't know. Maybe I'll look it up and put it like as a lower third right here. How far of a range you get, but whatever that says, that's how far of range you get with this guy. Again, tried and true. This is what we use for years. Now we really only use this if we have to go on a wireless situation where we need to have a clean feed to the camera. Again, if we're gonna go wireless and it's gonna be all post-production, we'll use this guy, the F2. That's gonna guarantee we have clean audio, no interference. Bam, Bob's your uncle. That's the guy we're using. If we have to go into camera, we're using this guy. And yeah, we really got to monitor that audio to make sure it's crisp and clean. Those are our devices that we use. The last thing I wanted to share with you is that one tip, that one tool that we use when we process our audio in post-production. Right now, you're hearing me because we have processed this audio and it sounds crispy and clean. I'm going to snap my fingers and I'll show you what this audio sounds like raw. You hear all that noise? You hear the air conditioner? You hear my personal fan going over here because it's 112 in Las Vegas. All that's being captured right now. It still sounds pretty good. Sounds decent, right? But what we do is we run it through this thing called Adobe Podcast. And once we upload our audio files, run it through Adobe Podcast, it cleans up all that mess and it sounds like this. Now you got that crisp clean audio that you've heard this entire session. It's embedded in Adobe Premiere right now. So Adobe came out with this. It started off in beta. You had to upload your files through a website. Now they added it to Adobe Premiere. It's part of their Audio Essential Suite. But also there's still the standalone website for any Creative Cloud users. We still like to run it through the website. I don't know why, but we can hear a difference when you run it through Premiere versus the website. I don't know. Maybe it's our ears. Maybe we got used to using it through the website. But either way, you just run through that guy, comes back, you get that crisp, clean audio. Let me snap out of it again. We're back into our raw audio. This time it's coming from the boom mics over here. You can hear, it's still pretty clear, but you can hear that dead air in between. Again, it magically takes all that out and cleans it up to what you hear right now. Anyways, that does it for me on this edition of Storyville Sessions. Just wanted to give you a couple of the tools and tricks that we use here at Storyville Road to give you that crisp, clean audio, and so that you can use it for your productions and whatever it is that you may use it for. We'll see you next time here at Storyville Road. Bye.